Today, I want to tell a story about some of the tensions and opportunities that we encounter as we work to challenge ongoing narratives of disinheritance for some children based on race, class, or story. Now, disinheritance is not a common word, and it wasn't a common word to us at CityBridge, but we encountered it as we were reading a wonderful text called Jesus and the Disinherited by Howard Thurman. This idea of disinheritance, we had to look it up to understand really what it meant. To disinherit someone, it means to prevent deliberately from inheriting something, as by making a will. A disinheritance is intentional, it's purposeful, and it's planned. In this case, we're talking about the will of our country. Our origin story tells us that the first people to hold the pen in drafting the will of our country were land-owning white men. And over time, more and more of us have tried to get a hold of the pen. And now the pen is in our hands. I'm a woman of color, and I know that I have the power to write a narrative of disinheritance for other people. But in order to write a different story, I must start with myself. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was about 10 years ago. I was sitting at home with my father. He's washing dishes. His wife, Golden, is reading the paper. And the Sunday Symphony is playing before we were getting ready to go to church. And in my house, the Sunday Symphony is oatmeal bubbling, the clang of dishes in the sink, and the turning of newsprint. There was a slight pause in this Sunday morning song, and I entered that pause with 4 words. I said, "Dad, I'm gay." That's actually 3 words. And he paused. He looked at me, because mind you, I am 30 years old at the time. I'm not 15, I'm not 17, I'm 30. He turns around and he looks at me and he says, "Well, in this world, that means you have 3 strikes against you. You're black, you're a woman, and you're gay." And after I picked my heart out of my stomach and actually thought about what he meant, I was devastated. I was devastated because what my father was telling me, that who I was already setting me as a loser in this particular world. Things that I cannot control or would never, ever want to change about myself. That was 10 years ago. And I'm still haunted by this notion of 3 strikes, but not by what my father said, but by how he said it. By how he said it. There was a certain level of automaticity to his words. It flowed out of his mouth. He was fluent in that language, so much so that I had to ask myself, where on earth did he learn that? Where did he learn that? And what were the power standards, the core ideas behind that statement? I'll say that one more time. What were the power standards behind that statement? Because the idea of someone's identity being 3 strikes against them sets them up to be losers in the game they did not even know they were playing. So I spent some time thinking about what was behind this idea of 3 strikes. And I came to this idea with some friends about there are governing ideas in our society that tell us who we should be and who we shouldn't be and how we should treat each other. And I want to share some of these ideas with you today. Idea 1, lighter-skinned people deserve more love, power, affection, wealth, and grace and dignity than darker-skinned people. Idea 2, that males are smarter, more trustworthy, better leaders, more responsible and stronger and honest than females. And I'm not saying I agree with them. They're just ideas that live in our space. 3, heterosexuals are more natural, deserving of love, dignity, humanity, and companionship than lesbians, gays, and bisexuals. And I wish there were more, but because we have these ideas, it allows us to continue to have the blueprint for others. Richer people are smarter, more trustworthy, more responsible, aspiration of grace than poorer people. Christians are more trustworthy, righteous, and more justified in their violence than non-Christians. Cisgender people are more deserving of love and companionship than trans people. English speakers with dominant culture accents are more intelligent than non-English speakers. And people who are differently abled and less intelligent, people who are differently abled, both physically and mentally, are less intelligent than those whose abilities conform to the majority. These ideas and the fact that they exist hurt us all, no matter where we are in their position. And it's these ideas about each other that justify mistreatment and favor. And when I think about how my father had to come to learn the ideas, it made me also realize that it's actually our relationships that illustrate the power of these ideas, and it's our relationships that scale these ideas. So I'm sure you're like, so what? So what, Caroline? Yeah, so what? What does this have to do with personalization? What does this have to do with online learning? Well, I know we are all in here because we believe in a better tomorrow, and we believe in the power of a better America, and we believe that our schools are the place to start.